Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Space Snacks. I have my guest is Imran Yusufzai, and we recently met through a class that we're taking together. And I'm really happy to have you on the show because your background is so intriguing to me. And so, Imran, welcome to Space Snacks.
Well, thank you for having me.
I wanted to first start off to give our audience a little bit about your background. So tell us about who you are and some of the things that you do.
I'm Imran. I'm from England originally. Then after I graduated in England, and I moved to the States and was in LA and New York. I live in New York City. I'm in Santa Fe now. I've been here for work for about a year now. And I come from I studied astrophysics at university, and now I'm a production accountant for film and TV. So that's what I'm doing here. And yeah, so it's a bit of a quite the journey to get to be where I am right now.
So first, has you have you always had a love of space from when you were a kid?
Yeah, I mean, for as long as I can remember, I've always loved space. I mean, I've always wondered what is out there. I mean, space for me as a kid is was more than just an escape. I just, I was spending more time as a kid learning about space than being outside and hanging out with the kids kind of thing. So it's like I think for me it was I really wanted to know the universe, and I think like humans tend to like people tend to like think so highly of themselves. They think the universe was created for them, and so we have some magical plan for each one of us. It's like, but for me, it was like when I found out, it was like 13.7 billion years of history in the universe, and we're just a blip compared to that. We're like nothing compared to that. And like during the whole time of the history of the universe, it's just like worlds have come into in and out of existence. Civilizations probably have risen and fallen, and there's just so much history that I wanted to know. And I wanted to know and understand the universe because the story of the universe is the story of humanity. And I wanted to, and by knowing that, I would know me. So, and that's what got me fascinated. And I was so intrigued. And obviously, that journey led me to study it at university level. And still until this day, space has always been my number one passion. I felt the universe is my first love. Yeah. And
I love that. I love that
yeah.
story of, by understanding that, you will understand yourself. And I imagine going off and getting your astrophysics degree, at the beginning of that, you weren't thinking, I'm going to end up being a TV accountant or a TV television productions accountant. And so
Yeah.
how did you, when you graduated, what happened to lead you to what you're doing now?
Well, I've always had so many interests, and before I went to university, like I had an application form filled in for the London Film School, and I had an application filled in
Oh,
for university to go to
yeah.
university to do astrophysics. But film school and that kind of stuff was always something I you could always do later on in life. You don't necessarily
Mm.
have to go to school; you could just teach yourself. And uh, and I just wanted to just pursue my passion, which was astrophysics. And I had no intention of being an academic or doing anything with a degree. Like I'm not a specialist. I don't want to go to further a higher education and do something with it. I just love the subject and love learning about space. And so basically, so I decided to go to university and get my degree. But I had all these other interests, as a creative. Like I love to write, I love to do this, love to do that, and the arts sort of gives me that flexibility, that creativity to express myself, to tell all these stories and do all these great things. And so, which is why um, I decided after I graduate, I would move to the States, move to LA, and try to break into try to pursue something in the industry just to get my foot in the door and just get in there. It's just to learn how it all works out. And then I was in LA 3 years. I couldn't break in because I just moved there without no money and nothing. My dad was there. He left. His car became my car. I lived in my car for the first few years. I could not break into the industry. I worked three
Mhm.
jobs, 7 days a week. I was a janitor. I was a bus boy. I was working at Disneyland theme park for a year, Universal Studios theme park. or so many different restaurants, graveyard shifts, or gas stations. I just could not break in because I didn't know anybody. I was on completely on my own. I was just struggling to survive. So I
Mm-hmm.
decided to drive across the country, went to New York City, where I had extended family, drove across, stayed there, interned in production, got an internship in production because I was able to afford to do it because I was staying at my aunt's. And then they liked me, they hired me in production. So the first couple of years I was in production. Then from there, I got into the accounting and finance side of it. So I moved into that and then moved my way up to where I am now. And I got into it because I really wanted to understand the business and money side of the industry. Like I wanted to be in a position that I can create my own stuff and have final say on it and understand how it works without and how the money part works, how the budgeting works, and how this other stuff works, which is why I got into this side of it, so that I have a better understanding of it, as well as pursuing as well, but as well as trying to create as well. But yeah, and it was just a way to survive in New York City too, because it was just so super expensive over there, and accounting allowed me to do that. So
I find that, interesting because you love the universe and the story of the universe, but from the creative standpoint too, you're also a storyteller and a creator, and when wanting to figure out how to tell those interesting stories, which sometimes isn't easy to do. And so, um, when it comes to storytelling, what kind of stories do you want to tell? Do you want to tell the story of the universe and science, or is it more? I guess I'm thinking fiction or nonfiction.
yeah, I mean, I like telling. For me, storytelling is what makes humanity special. I think, like every one of us is a storyteller, whether we like realize it or not. And I think we all have the ability to create and to project and to change the narrative of us of the story. We have this ability, and we use it every day, and we don't even realize it. And I think in a way that we are writing our own stories, and the kind of stories that I like to explore all stories to do. I mean, I love all genres. I love from horror. I love horror to science fiction to drama. Obviously, you know, I'm really interested in fiction, and because I think we can use fiction to express the nonfiction. And I'm not. I mean, I love I like documentaries and things like that. But I think that storytelling and telling a story in the realm of fiction is so you can just relay and express so much. Stories like in the traditional sense are basically structured in the construct of time. But when we start talking about the universe is both inside and outside of time. And I think and to know to know and understand the universe, we have to really go through the science and go through the exploration. And but we have but entertainment for me is like the language that resonates with everybody out there. And whether it's a film or a TV show or some other form of medium, there's so many different types of formats that you can use to tell stories. And it all so powerful tools that we should use to talk about the universe. But I think in the by telling a fictional story, you are you are more likely to touch people and inspire people about
Mhm.
more people are more likely to be in tune and resonate and get touched by that than picking up reading a nonfiction book or watching a nonfiction documentary. And less people are doing that, unfortunately. I mean, less people are unfortunately watching documentaries or watching or reading a book about a science book. So it's which is so telling stories with great amazing using drama and characters and using that storytelling whole method of storytelling just it's so powerful. It's such a powerful thing, and I think that that's what we need more of out there. And I think that's what's gonna like sort of be our like it's gonna really help humanity to move forward and in a way save humanity. We're already natural storytellers, and like I said, the story of the universe is what by knowing that we know ourselves. And I want to inspire and the story and I want to write the kind of stories I want to tell, I also want to inspire people to look up, because when we look up, we look within,
Mhm.
and that's the power of storytelling, and it's just amazing.
There's so many questions that I have to follow up on this. But first, I want to talk about you as an explorer and where you get your inspiration from. First of all, if you could go anywhere and explore anywhere in our solar system, the moon, Mars, go to the ISS, go to the outer solar system like Jupiter, and is there anywhere in particular that just kind of draws you in?
I'm a big fan of. I love galaxies. Like for me, like I want to just explore galaxies, because to me, like each galaxy is like a mini universe of its own. So it's like already the universe is full of and like endless possibilities. So if you just, and on a local level, just by exploring a galaxy, and it's like a small universe, and I love to just go from galaxy to galaxy, and I think it'd be amazing, because I think that there's just so much um, out there. Like I love to obviously explore our neighborhood, our solar system, and all that, but I think it's I think just going beyond that, because it's just so much more out there within a galaxy, and yeah, I'd love to just go to a galaxy somewhere, whether it's the closest one to us, whether it's the Andromeda galaxy or some other galaxy. Like I love to go.
I brought up a graphic because I've recently become kind of obsessed with galaxies that are colliding.
Yeah,
And this whole idea of what would that look like? What does that mean when you have these amazing galaxies coming together and colliding in this way? And to me, what you're talking about, it just, could you imagine our galaxy colliding with another galaxy and what that
yeah,
would be like?
I know that would be pretty crazy. I mean, who know, what kind of like the outcome that you'll get out of, and how it would affect everything else within that
Yeah.
within our galaxy, if that, and yeah, that'd be amazing. But the it would be such a long time span of that happening. I doubt it won't have too much of a, we won't even, we'll probably be long dead before then, long gone before then. So it's just like, and but it's great to observe it though, to see what happens, and to see all these great things from, that we're still, obviously science is still very new, especially to astrophysics and cosmology, and like anything, like it's still quite new, and we're still trying to, like, like with everything, with the gravitational waves and stuff like that, like when galaxies merge. It's amazing. It's still a very new science, and we're learning so much. And by observing what goes on out there, it kind of is sort of an indicator of what's going to happen to us eventually, to our galaxy.
Were you influenced at all from the sci-fi that was on television, Star Trek and all of those? Do you have a favorite that kind of you grew up with that influenced you, or a writer that might have influenced you and your love of storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, I love Star Trek. I'm a huge like Trekkie, and I love obviously growing up, Star Trek was the thing that I loved. One of my like all-time favorite shows is The X-Files. I just love The X-Files, and I'm
Yeah, I watched
obsessed
the
with The X-Files.
X-Files. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was good.
yeah, so that was
Older.
amazing. Yeah, and I'm from England, so like Doctor Who was a big deal for us growing
Hmm.
up. So Doctor Who was another, influence. But yeah, I'd say X-Files and Star Trek were like the biggest influences in terms of TV shows, and films was just like, like I love 2001, and I mean, one of my all-time favorite films is Gattaca, and because I was just like, through me, Gattaca was like a personal favorite. It's always resonated with me on a personal level, because it just
I
combines
Yeah,
science and creativity in one, and tells this amazing story, and like, it's so ahead of its time as well, and it's such a powerful story.
it really is. And so
Yeah,
anybody that's out there that's listening to this, if you haven't seen it, it's so good. Um,
yeah,
and, and thinking about storytelling, and I want to bring in this food and where the role of food in our culture, in storytelling, in just kind of all of those things. Do you have a favorite type of food?
I don't. I mean, I love I love obviously I'm a big. I mean, I love obviously chocolate, mint chocolate, and things like that. But I love like Mediterranean food is something like hummus is my favorite. I love hummus. I can eat
Mhm.
hummus with anything. Oh, and I love like you know, and I just love just traditional cooking too. Like especially my mom, obviously my mom's cooking. I love and but yeah, Mediterranean food I would say is like my favorite kind of food, and as some and but I love chocolate, mint, and all that stuff for like snacks. Um, and I'm a huge tea drinker and biscuits and I think being in the States for so long as I have been, like I always try to like I'm always drinking real tea, the proper way too, and
Wait, 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 wait,
it's
wait. We got to get
important.
into this because I'm drinking tea right now. What
Oh
is
my.
cheers? What is the proper way to drink tea?
Well, I think well, you're supposed to let the tea bag if you're using a tea bag, that is, you're supposed to let it steep like properly. Like we're Americans, for some reason, obsessed with just rushing things. Just like they just don't
We
like.
are.
I mean, the tea making process it's a delicate process. You got to give it time. It's not like coffee. You just pour it, and drink it right away, sort of thing. And it's just but tea, you have to like it has to be boiled water, like real actual boiled water, not from the kettle, and not from from some other hot water from the sink or something. I've seen people do that, which is stupid, but it's just like, why would you do that? It doesn't work that way. And then, but yeah, you gotta let the tea bag steep for a while, and I usually cover it up
I was gonna say, do
because
you cover? Because that's my bad thing is I
yeah,
don't have a cover. I need a.
I cover it up, and depending how strong I want it, I do it for like 3 to 5 minutes, and then after then I uncover it and I drain the tea bag in there with a spoon, and then and I add milk to it, milk, not half and half or cream or whatever else, or actual real milk, and then I drink it.
I'm pulling my tea bag out because I'm like,
Yeah,
oh no.
but
Wait.
that's with real tea. That's like with black tea. Herbal teas like or a different. You still should steep them the right way, but obviously you don't add milk or whatever to it. You can add honey, whatever. But yeah.
Well, what are you doing? I have a cinnamon. This is a black orange. It's a black tea, and it's an orange cinnamon that I'm drinking right now. It's really lovely. What are you
Oh,
drinking?
I'm drinking real British tea from England. From there's a store in England called it's a very big chain called Marks and Spencer, and it's like one of my favorite stores growing up. And I drink PG Tips as well, but I have every time I go home, I always stock up on Marks and Spencer tea because it's just something I love and just something I grew up with. So that's what I'm drinking right now, Marks and Spencer tea. And I think only British people out there will get what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Well, I got a confession to make that I happen to fly to England a lot, and my favorite flight in the world is the Phoenix to Heathrow direct. And so every time I go, I buy tea, usually in
Yeah.
the duty free shop because I'm running around and stuff. But I buy these tins of British tea or mixed teas and stuff, and I bring them home. And it's my favorite thing to do when I fly through England is to stock up on my tea.
Yeah, it's that's good that you do that. It's very hard to get good tea around, like British tea that is, or any British stuff around here. But yeah, it's good to and tea's it's easy to bring back. It's light, so and yeah, I think everyone should drink tea, more so than coffee, and I think it's just a great because it really forces you to sit down and take a moment, like tea does.
It does. One of the things that being going to England and even Europe to a lot of times when I was going for teaching in academia, I loved it. I would be just at a conference or something in England, and you'd be in the middle of conference and they'd be like tea break time, 9
Yeah.
o'clock or 10 o'clock tea break. And so coming back here at my school, as the faculty developer, I started tea time every Tuesday. I'm like, tea time, everybody come. And I would put out teas and coffee because a
Wow.
lot of people in the US are coffee, but biscuits, and just
Yeah.
making it a lovely experience because there's so much, conversation that happens around the tea break time, or even thinking about food and dinner and lunch and um, the way we connect as humans. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's a really good time when a lot of storytelling happens around the dinner table. Because I know for me, the things that I remember of my parents growing up and learning about them happened mainly at the dinner table. It was that the same for you?
Yeah, I mean, like tea time, was a very, yeah, and dinner table, but like tea time was like a, no matter what environment you were at, whether the workplace or at home, tea time always was like always had some level of storytelling involved in it. Like, people will be talking about the day, or talking about what just stuff that's, just random stuff. It was always a conversation, and and it kind of just like, and it was good. It's just good just to take that time out from your crazy day and whatever, and it really forces, like I said, it forces you. I mean, the whole point of drinking tea and having a tea time, it's like it's like a sit down ritual. Like, it's what you do. You're not running on the go with a coffee cup, like drinking coffee sort of thing. It's not like that. It's a different kind of thing. But tea really really gives you that. It's very, for me, it's very relaxing. It's very, like, it's very meditating for me just to have. I always look forward to tea time. I mean, I always look forward. I always drink tea, and 99% of the time I'm drinking tea in the morning or afternoon, and in the evening, I drink like non-caffeinated tea. And yeah,
That's
so
the
I
same
love
for
tea.
me. And I love the variety. And so this morning when before we started this, as you know, I'm like, I gotta go run down and get my cup of tea. And
Yeah,
now one of my hardest morning decisions is, which tea bag am I going to, what do I want to drink this morning? Because
yeah.
I have a whole cupboard that I open up, and it's got all of this variety of tea. And I recently discovered a very nice um, chocolate mint tea. And so
Oh, that's like
that,
two of my favorite
I
things,
know you
chocolate and
mentioned
mint.
that.
And I didn't even know there was a chocolate. I've been looking for. I found hot chocolate that was chocolate and mint. I haven't found a tea yet
Yes, I
that's
found a
chocolate and mint.
tea. Somebody else mentioned that they, had found a really nice chocolate mint tea, and I was like, "Ooh, I gotta go look for this." And so I went
Yeah.
out and I found one. I'm like, "Oh,
Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Yeah, I usually try to. I mean, I love exploring different types of teas as well, but I usually stay with the same kind of teas on a day-to-day basis. Like, so I kind
Mhm.
of know. Like, I have my normal British tea morning and afternoon, and then then I like later afternoon. I love ginger tea, like the yogi ginger
Oh
teas. They're like
yes,
my favorite, and I have that. And then in the evening, I would have peppermint tea. So like,
mm,
and that
yes."
was like a daily thing for me.
I love that. I love my ginger. I love my
Yeah,
peppermint. But then I've started to get into some of the like turmeric
that's
and
good
just
too.
the interesting combinations that are out there, that I'm just like, lavender honey. I'm like, really, I got to try this. Do you
Yeah.
like to cook? Are you a cook, or do you bake or
I mean,
takeout?
I cook when I can. Like, I've been cooking lately because I have the
Mhm.
time right now to do it. Not, but normally, because of my work schedule, it's just almost impossible to like cook because you're working 10 to 12 hours a day, and so it's very difficult to do that. But I do like to cook, and I do like to experiment. But I don't, I'm very, I don't make the same dish again and again. I just always, every dish is an experiment. Like, I'm just trying something new and just giving it a try. So, I did a very bad experiment the other day on Monday, I think I did, and Sunday, and it didn't go down well at all. So, and I'm still paying the price for it. But but cooking is great because it gives you a bit like, like tea time. It kind of like, it's very relaxing, and it's just very, and you could just do all kinds of cool stuff. But I've been very careful with like using up my groceries because I don't want to keep having to go out grocery
Hmm.
shopping. It's a
Hmm.
crazy time right now to go grocery shopping. So I'm always like rationing myself and just like, think ahead of time, thinking, okay, what I'm going to eat, like, for the week sort of thing.
Yeah,
So, yeah, but
we've been doing the same thing, and thinking about being very deliberate of going to the grocery store and thinking ahead, because I like leftovers a little bit, but me, I like the creativity of having something new in my,
yeah,
the new tastes and sensations. And so my husband's always like, the fridge gets filled up with leftovers. And I'm like, but I want to create something new. And I love the creativity. Again, I feel like food is a way of, to some extent, storytelling, where you're the how you can pull ingredients and stuff
yeah,
together to create something amazing, and then sharing it um, with others, and
it
just
is.
that.
It is. I love it. I like cooking. It's like I mean the universe was cooked up. You got all these
Yes,
different ingredients, put it all together, and you created the universe. Like and so you're always creating your own little mini universe when you're
I
cooking. This is like and it's great. I love it.
I feel the same way. I feel like the periodic table of elements.
Yeah,
To imagine that everything is a combination of these things coming
yeah,
together. Like, it's like you said, it's the universe's building blocks for storytelling,
yeah.
and creating just this immense world and universe.
It is.
um
It is. Yeah, and
yeah.
it is. I like it. I think, and I think people. It's very. I think people should definitely give cooking more of a chance as well, because I think people get very put off by it, and just and just it can get overwhelming. Like I just thought, most of my cooking, actually, nearly all of my cooking, I usually just, like I said, I just make up things. I don't even look at book like recipes or things like that. I just make up things, and just whether or not it works, I put it to the test. And if it's something I liked, I try to remember the combination. The next time I make it again by tweak it, I change something. So I just want to, because I want to keep trying out different things. But I never really like. I should start documenting it. I should start writing down. So now what I like, but I just like I like having the surprise of like how it's going to turn out. It's just for me, it's like I said, it's like the universe. Like it's like if you tweaked one constant in the universe by a slightly, it'll be a whole different universe, and it's just like it'll be a whole different dish. Just
Yep.
if that little tweak, and I love that. And you can always notice it too when I'm making a similar dish, but tweaking something the next time. You can always notice the small little things, and it's the small details that make up the big picture. So, and I think the small details, which is what another thing what I love about space, is just so many small details out there that that are just amazing, and I wish more people would pay more attention to that too, because it's like it's so important to know that stuff. But yeah, like in cooking, it just I love it. I love it. Is cooking is um, like the universe basically. Yeah, like cooking up your own little universe, and
Oh,
I enjoy the
yeah.
process.
I do too, and it sounds like we're very similar in our cooking style. Do you? I Because you have such long hours, I imagine that to some extent, when it comes to throwing parties, do you like to throw parties? Do you like to throw space parties?
Oh, I love doing speed. I would love. I mean, I do, but it's usually I'm on my own, or I have like other because it's hard to find. It's really hard for me to find people, especially like here right now, and even in New York City. It is hard to find people who really appreciate and like like within distance, that is, to like to who love the universe as much as I do, or what and who appreciate it. It's really hard, and I think because it's really that's another thing I want to change about the world, because I think it's like we have like 7 billion people on this planet, and most people are just not don't even look up. They just it has to take a launch on TV or something to get a person's attention. It's like this, and I always like even with the stars, like I really want people just to always like look up too, even if they can't. Like everyone should be able. Everyone at some point in their life should see the night sky for like at least once. At least see the Milky Way at least once.
Oh
Because I think it's
yeah.
transforming. I think it's like life changing just to see that.
Mhm.
Like when I saw it as a kid, it just blew my mind. When I was under a blanket of stars, it just blew my mind. And I love stars. Like I have a projector in my room that I project stars in my room, so I can just have some stars. I love having my ideal bedroom would be a planetarium, and
Yes.
so I love it, and I think yeah, I really think that people really need to do more of that, and I I would love to have space parties. I do space parties on my own. I'm always representing space in some way or another. Like I'm wearing a
Yes.
shirt right now. I've got
Mhm.
my beads. This is the Jupiter. This is like the four Galilean moons of Jupiter, and it's a Jupiter. So I'm always representing my phone, space cell. This is the the Columbia module for Apollo 11, and this is like my space, my little my flask over here. I'm always representing another, and because I think space should be part of the everyday narrative. It should be like a household thing. Like it should be like a norm. It should not just. It should be part of a pop culture, and it should be like an everyday thing. And I think that it's important. Like
I I love your backdrop, by the way. And so
yeah, that's it's nice. Yeah, it's right above my sofa, so it feels like I'm actually outside.
and
Like,
so and so when you're traveling a lot, and so setting up a place that feels comfortable for you, and so do you
yeah,
have your kind of like traveling box of space stuff that has to come with
man,
you
I have.
when you're going?
Yeah, and I do carry a lot of I do carry toys around with me. Like when I go from job to job, I carry always have toys on my desk, space toys. I have like a Saturn V behind there, it's a big one, and I have but I also like the Curiosity rovers over there, and I always carry like from job to job, but I also end up giving my toys away to people as well because I want a piece out. Like almost every job I've been on, I'm kind of giving away my toys because they're just scattered all over the country now, all over the world. But it because it's just I think it's space. It's all about sharing too, and I think it just I need to have my toys around me and pictures and posters and things like that, just to remind me that it's more to life than this crappy job that I'm doing or something like that. So it's like so it always gives me that perspective, and you need that reminder all the time. It's not I can't just leave my desk and go outside and and look up kind of thing because depending on where you're at you can't even do that or what time of the day it is, and so you always need reminders. I always need reminders around me to of my first love, and so that because that keeps me going, and I think it's important. So, yeah, so when I'm traveling from job to job, or if I'm just if I'm working in New York City, I usually I always carry my space stuff with me, and I usually have a space mug. I have this one here. I got a TARDIS, which is a Doctor Who mug over there, and I got a couple of other space mugs, and I have an X Files one over there. I want to believe X Files mug, but I think it's important to have that stuff because you can never grow too old. Grow out of toys. You can never grow. You always need your toys. You always need things like that because in our heart, we're like children. We're young. We're still curious and wanderers, and we want to explore and discover. And having these toys and reminders, they're like the work as they serve as like triggers. They like help you to remind you to keep your mind going and keep and for
I
me
love that.
for me it's important.
It is for me too. And that's why one of the things I knew we would just have the best conversation because I also have something that projects stars. And then my
Yeah,
brother, for my birthday this year, gave me a blanket that has glow in the dark constellations on it. And it's on my bed. So every time I go to sleep and I turn out the lights, I have this constellation blanket over me. And it just makes me so
that's great.
happy. And then I
Yeah,
have like my Astro Bears and a Lego Saturn V, and
yeah,
just you know having that connection, like you said, to your first love of space and as a kid, the toys and the things that just bring you joy around you, especially in this time of uncertainty and distress and the things that are happening, finding ways to be able to pull that stress away through space, your space, the space around you, the space that you create.
Yeah, I need my space. It's simple as that. So that's what it all comes down to. And yeah, but it's nice. It's nice to have those little things around you and reminders. It keeps us, keeps us, like I said, it keeps us going, and we need that
I can't
more,
believe it, but
more so now. Have
we're
we passed
already yeah, we're already 35
the
minutes in.
time?
It's
Wow.
we've been chatting for 35 minutes, and I have enjoyed every minute of it. There are so many more questions that I can ask you, and hopefully I can have you on the show again, and we can talk about, I don't know, future projects and the things that you'd like to see for humanity going forward. Those of you that joined us, we've got Justin, and I think it's Yaz or Jaz. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Terrible at pronouncing names. But Imran, can you tell the people who are listening how they can follow you or connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I mainly use Instagram, but I'm also on Facebook. On Instagram, my name there is spaceman underscore from underscore the underscore future. So spaceman from the future. Um, so that's my Instagram name because I wanted to combine both space and time in one. And then and on my Facebook, it's just facebook.com/. Tomorrow, as in like THEMORROW, which is from Gattaca, Tomorrow. So that's you'll, you'll find me
Oh, we
there.
could dive so much into Gattaca and all that
Yeah,
is so much stuff to talk about. But thank you for coming on, and thank you for those of you that have listened today. I got to pull a postcard here, and so I always give a postcard, and so pull this one. One person who left a comment will win the recipe postcard for tuning in. Thank you. And so thank you for joining me today.
thank you. Thanks for having me. I had a blast. It was great.
Bye, everybody. See you tomorrow for another episode of Space Snacks.